greatest tennis players in history. Laura Vicker, reporting Scotland in Dunblane.
So what will the implication of Andy Murray's victory be? Royston Kymberly is the National Manager of TenniscoachUK, that's the independent association for tennis coaches, and he's been telling me that Andy Murray's victory could inspire a generation.
Inspiration to all kids in tennis in this country. We've been watching him for many years now, and all hoping that he might achieve this victory, this kind of victory, and to see him win in the Olympic Games and to see him celebrate that victory as if he was sharing it for the whole nation, that was wonderful. And it was intriguing to see how he celebrated this one. It was a very personal thing for him, I think, but for all young kids in this country, he's the first name on the lips when we talk about tennis, so this is going to be great for them.
It's a bit like the Olympics though. We talk about inspiring a generation, and no doubt a generation been inspired by the Olympics and maybe now by Andy Murray, but are there then the facilities for those kids who want to go and play tennis to do so? Yeah,
it's a difficult question, that one. Excuse me, I'm just going to put this back in. I'm losing that a little bit. It's a difficult question. I mean, when my first introduction into tennis was over the local park with my sisters playing tennis, and it was free of charge and very easily accessible. Now, those numbers of those parks have diminished now, and now the first in sort of road into tennis is more often than not for kids at a local club. And they do a great job, and they have some very good mini programs there, so I would encourage kids to go and check out their local club to see what mini programs there are there for them to introduce themselves into the sport. But again, it now incurs a cost at stage one, which is a little hard. It's not a lot. I mean, normally their mini programs will charge them maybe between £3 and £5 for an hour's coaching, and at stage one it's affordable. But as you might have heard before, tennis is seen to be a little bit of an elitist sport, and therefore it isn't always affordable. And as the kids progress through the sport, it does become a little bit more expensive.
So, I mean, should there be free tennis? Should there be free tennis available to kids? And are the authorities like the Lawn Tennis Association doing enough, do you think, to make it an accessible game for everybody?
The Lawn Tennis Association, they do a great job in many areas, you know, and I don't want to sort of just keep kicking the Lawn Tennis Association on these things, but they tend to focus very much on talent ID programs and high performance centres, and what that tends to do is it tends to cherry pick the talent that's already there, and then takes that talent away from the nurturing environments that originally produced it. And I think they should be putting more money into tennis for free. There's an organisation called Tennis for Free, run by a guy called Tony Hawk's, a very well-known comedian, and I think he's gone to the LTA many times to look for additional funding from them. They need to start doing that kind of thing and get tennis in schools free of charge, and start supporting the coaches out there that are delivering it, no matter what coaching philosophy they have.
Because Andy Murray himself has spent a lot of his career being coached abroad rather than in this country.
Yes, and one of the reasons was because I know that well, I've heard that his mother had to take him many miles to find the kind of tournaments and competitions that he needed to compete in, to play the kind of players at the level that he needed to play with in those days. And when she took him to Spain, I think she was paying something like £25,000 a year for him to be able to be trained in Spain. And as much as we can look at the coaches in Spain and say maybe they've got a little bit of an edge over us, I don't think it's so much the coaching. I think it's the coaching environment where they have the edge.
So just very briefly, do you think there's another Andy Murray in the pipeline?
For sure. Yeah. Well, as I say, the talent's there. What we need to do is expand the environments where that talent can come into the sport. It's okay looking at what we've got and saying, okay, you know, out of 100 kids, we might have one that has the opportunity to go on and play top-grade tennis. Well, then what we need is 1,000 kids. What we need is 100.
Royston Kymberly talking to me a little bit earlier on. Now our latest headlines on BBC News. The Welsh Minister for Education has urged his Westminster counterparts to follow his lead and order a regrading